Hey guys. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about emotional eating or binge eating or binge eating. Um, if any of you followed me for a minute, you know that my biggest problem in the past has been binge eating, emotional eating, compulsive eating, binge eating disorder, things like that. And I know I see a lot of you guys in DMs and stuff. I get tons of messages asking about what to do, like when you want to binge or after you binge or during a binge or how do you get past emotional eating. And so what I was thinking today is something that has been super helpful for me personally. Emotions and food was incredibly connected to me. And I even read in a book that said that once you develop that pattern, that it literally becomes connected in your brain, so that when you feel emotions that you don't want to feel, you don't feel those anymore, you feel hungry. Now, you can't quote me on that because I don't even know where I read that. If I find it, I'll maybe cite it or do something on that. But anyways, it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me because especially when I was first working in a 12-step group with a sponsor, she would tell me, well, stop before you pick up and think, what am I feeling? And to be honest, I would do that. And I would just sit here like, I don't know what the hell I'm feeling. I just don't know. I literally did not know what I was feeling. I just knew that I needed to eat or that I wanted to eat. And then since I couldn't, I was trying not to, I would just feel like I was climbing the walls with the urge to eat. So, obviously I can't get into a whole recovery program in, a 5-minute video. But what I did want to say, anyone who struggles with that, like emotional eating, one thing that became very, very, very apparent to me was I oftentimes ate to avoid, not avoid, to avoid. So if there's something I didn't want to do, I would want to eat. I would just want to eat, and I didn't even know that that's what I was doing. So basically, it was a way for me to procrastinate. So, and then there's a couple of things that I asked myself if now, like if I wanted to eat, and this is what I'm hoping would be helpful to some of you. So if you get the urge that you want to eat, but you're not really hungry, or even you suspect you may not be hungry, or you just ate 5 minutes ago, or you want to continue eating and you know that you're full, any of those situations, just ask yourself, what do I feel powerless over? What do I feel that I don't have control over, or I can't help? And a lot of times when I'd ask myself this question, it was the dumbest things. It would seem the dumbest things, but to me, I was so used to avoiding problems or emotions, any kind of confrontation, anything like that. I avoided like the plague. And so even if I just mentally imagine the confrontation, I would want to eat because that's how much I wanted to avoid any kind of, trouble, any kind of confrontation. But a lot of times when I would ask myself, what is it that I feel powerless over? A lot of times it would come up my day. I have little kids, I have big kids and little kids. But my whole life, the last 20 years of my life, I've had little kids, 20 plus years, at various ages. And, maybe the house was a wreck. Maybe I needed to fix dinner. I didn't know what I was going to fix. Maybe I needed to pay a bill. Things like that. That's what I was eating over. Like straight up, that's what I was eating over. A lot of times it was everyday stressors. Like I said, the house is a mess because I'm like, I look at my house as a mess, and instead of thinking the logical thing, if I spent 5 minutes in the living room and 10 minutes in the kitchen, I could get this place looking a lot better. I didn't think like that. I would look at that and think, oh my gosh, my house is a wreck. I'm a failure. Which I've also heard being called as catastrophe thinking. So, or the same, I would look and be like, oh, my kitchen is a wreck and I don't want to clean it right now. Let me eat something. It doesn't take the problem away. It just delays me having to face the problem and do something about it. And the absolutely foolish thing about it is, like I just said, a lot of times it was a 5-minute cleanup in the living room, picking up toys or tidying the sofas, or a 15-minute job in the kitchen. And I'm just using these illustrations to say, I'm not saying that this is why everybody eats. What I'm saying is they were super simple things in my life that I had just connected at some point in my life. I had connected a problem that I didn't want to deal with to eating. And therefore, whenever I had a problem I didn't want to deal with, even if it might be something as simple as cleaning the kitchen or paying the light bill, I ate over that too. I would feel hungry. I need to eat, and I would eat. I would binge. I would graze, just to not have to deal with it. And then at the end, I'd still have to do it. I still have to clean the kitchen. I still had to pay the bill. I still had to deal with life. But that plain and simple question of what do I feel powerless over? It could be you don't know, you have a technician coming to check something out. It could be a project that you have at work. It could be a paper you have to turn in. Those are more obvious, okay? Those kind of things are more obvious, like if there is a confrontation coming up. Those are more obvious. But for me, a lot of the reasons that I was overeating was super incredibly simple, easily solved problems I didn't want to deal with. And it was just a way for me to procrastinate and a way for me to avoid. And so, if you, a lot of times, and here's the funny thing, if you can pinpoint what it is that you're trying to avoid or what it is that you feel powerless over, at least in my experience, once I pinpointed that, I saw how foolish it was, and I cleaned the living room, or I pay the bill, and the urge to eat would leave before I actually did the work. What made the urge leave was just saying, oh, that's what I'm trying to avoid. And once I looked at it and said, okay, it's right there, the urge to eat would just go away. So a lot of times it is literally just looking at what you're feeling and dealing with it, or just acknowledging it. And then there's other times, there's deeper problems sometimes, but this is just a really simple one that I'm hoping helps some of you, because that's probably my biggest question, one of my biggest questions. And I also get a lot of questions about my food plan, guys. It's not a secret. I've been accused of holding my food plan a secret. I've said many times I follow an exchange type program for food addicts. I am going to do more on that because so many people want to know. But here's the reason that I'm not touting a food plan. For one, I'm not getting paid to promote any food plan, so I don't feel like I need to. Another, I don't follow a commercial food plan. So I don't follow like Weight Watchers or something where I can say that I'm on this food plan. But the bottom line is, the biggest thing for me is any food plan will work if you get this stuff taken care of. Any food plan will work as long as you can follow it. You got to find a food plan that works for you. I can't just follow any food plan. I have to find one that works for me. And the same is true for all of us. And the biggest key for me was the mental key. And that's why I talk mostly about the mental and emotional aspects. But I am going to do more on the food plans, just because I want to help in any way that I can. So anyways, I hope this was helpful to some of you guys. Have a great day. Please like, share if this was helpful to you. And follow and subscribe if you want to see more. And yeah, you guys have a great day. I hope it was helpful.